Hello everyone, Alexander Flores here, and welcome to episode 9 of Creating a Software Company. In this video, we're going to be creating a very basic login system so we can log into the accounts that we created in the last video. There's actually quite a lot of things that I refactored inside the project. Let's take a look at those real quick. I added Express Session and Express Validator. I added some extra middleware stuff. I added a 404 handler and then also moved all of our routes into separate files inside of this routes directory. So the main routes file just renders the index. Accounts will render everything related to the account system. So here we see the sign up, and I was incorrect about something I mentioned in the last video, is that AWS, it will check for the passwords and all that stuff to make sure they're actually secure. However, they send you errors back one at a time. So if a user is signing up with a password that has multiple things wrong with it, there's going to be one error passed back, and so they're going to see that their passwords don't match. And then they're going to try and fix that, and then they're going to see that they need a special character, and then they'll fix that, and then they'll see that they need a number, and then they can fix that. And that just seems really annoying. I want to display all the errors at once. And so now we are validating the form ourselves through this. Then we are seeing what errors occur, and we are adding them to a session variable to display on the front end. And then after all that's done, then we're attempting to actually create the user, and then we're redirecting them to a dashboard. So let's see here, the sign up is pretty simple. It's the only thing I really changed is we're now displaying errors through looping through them. The login is essentially the same thing, it's just without the confirm password field and some changes to the CSS. And then dashboard is basically just a placeholder, just so we don't have a 404 error. So I added a basic navigation, added a little bit of styling to the actual website. So we have the sign up here, login here, and dashboard here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete the user I already have, and then I'm going to go to accounts, and we're going to work on the login system. So let's scroll down to the bottom here, router.post. So we're going to listen to post requests on /login, and that's because this is where the login form sends it. If we look here, we see that the method is post and the action is /login, so we're listening for that. So there's a couple things we want to do. First, we want to get some login details. And this is going to be an object that holds a username, which is held in request.body.email because our email is our username. And then we want a password, which is request.body.password. So now we're going to pass in this object into a Cognito function to create authentication details, which is another object we need. Authentication details, and then pass in login details. So now later on we're gonna use this object, and we're gonna pass that into Cognito so they can actually understand what our username and password are, so we can easily check if they're valid. Now we need some information on the user, so we're going to create an object called user details, where the username is request.body.email like it was before, and then we want the pool, which will be the user pool. So user pool is what we configured right up here, which you saw in the last video. So now let's go ahead and create a Cognito user object. Let's new Amazon Cognito identity.cognito user. We're going to pass in user details. So now we're going to be able to use this to try and authenticate based off of this object here. So we're going to simply do cognito user.authenticate user, and we're going to then pass in authentication details and then a object. So all this is doing is trying to log in the Cognito user based off of the username and password that we provided here. So this method, or this object that we passed in as a second argument, is going to take two parameters, and it's going to be on success and then on failure. And so what I'm going to do is copy how I am handling the error messages on sign up, and I'm going to paste them here. We don't need to return, and we don't need to replace this. This replace right here is only there because it was really annoying how there's this giant string of text that isn't needed on the error messages. And then we're going to change this to login errors. So we're just logging the errors, and then we're going to add the error to a list of errors and then redirect them to /login. And then on success, we're just going to simply console log data and then redirect them to /dashboard. So we'll take a look at what that looks like in a few seconds. But another thing I want to do is saying request.session log in errors equals an empty array, because we're doing that right up here, and this is basically making it so all previous errors don't matter, because we don't care about previous errors if we're trying again. So whoops. So that seems correct. Everything looks good. Let's try this out. Let's save the file. Does everything look good here? Yes, it does. So we have, did I create a user? No, we do not have a user. So I'm going to type in my password right here so I can see it, making sure I have an uppercase, a lowercase, special character, and a number. Then we're going to sign up. And this redirects us to the dashboard. So now we are signed up. Let's refresh here, and we see that the user is right here. Now let's try logging in. So we're going to log in with an incorrect email, and we get an error. I see why. I didn't capitalize the U right here. Let's simply save that and refresh. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so user is not confirmed. That's the error I expected here. However, we're also trying to push an array to an undefined object. Oh, okay. Okay, so just a simple typo. Let's refresh. Okay, now let's log in. And we get an error of user is not confirmed. And let's try logging with an incorrect email. User does not exist. And let's log in with an incorrect password. User is not confirmed. Okay, so I guess it checks if the user is confirmed before it checks the password. So the users can confirm themselves by going through their confirmation email. However, I'm going to simply go to the user and click confirm user right here. Now let's try logging in. And I forgot to change the password to be incorrect, but that login worked. Let's try logging in with an incorrect password, and it's going to say incorrect username or password. Okay, so that's fine. Let's now log in correctly and take a look at what happens here. So we see that we have a username, which is just a random string, and then we have sub right here, which is also the same thing. So this is how we're going to identify users. We see the client ID, we see a bunch of different other information. We see different tokens, the JWT tokens, and another token here. So now we're going to be able to use all this information to keep our users signed in, and then also double check that our users are signed in before going to the dashboard. But that'll be in future videos. This is all I had planned for this video. So in the next video, we're going to be actually trying to either reset our password or change our email and working on different features like that. I just want to get the entirety of the account system done as soon as possible. So that's the goal there. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.